Alright guys, how's it going? I'm really hungry right now. I just wanted you to know that. Okay, let's get started. Alright, so in order to help you with your homework, please remember the homework that you are completing, that is not it. It's basically the same as the front that we worked on in class together, right? The classwork. The only difference with the homework is this little area here. We handwrote in an extra sentence. That'll make it slightly different. I'm personally going to go over the classwork just as a reminder of how to do it. I don't want to give you the answers to the homework because I'm pretty sure you guys will be able to figure this out, okay? Alright, so, and also for those of you that are sick and watching this, I hope you feel better. And this helps you while you're laying in bed, coughing up mucus or whatever you're doing. Okay, alright. So Rhonda has a tutoring business, right? I'm not going to read it to you. I'm sure you guys are able to read on your own. If you're not, see me in the morning and we'll work on it, okay? Alright. So we don't have to define the variables. They gave us x and y already. They told us what it is. They said x represents the number of high school students, right? And y represents the number of middle school students. I really want you to see this. A, and this is how the semester exam is going to be. So we're practicing it now. Write a system of inequalities for the situation. They want you to be able to know in your mind that you need to think about the constraints first before you write these inequalities, okay? So, constraints, once again, let me just write it. Identify the constraints. I think this is huge, at least for the way my mind works. In order to be able to successfully do letter A and write a system of inequalities, I really think you need to identify the constraints, okay? Alright, the two constraints that we talked about in class were the fact that they said you have to make at least $1,200, right? This is what you have to make, no more, no less. That is a constraint, okay? Now, another constraint in this problem, if I'm reading, you're going to work a maximum of 90 hours, okay? You follow me so far? I see you're nodding your head up and down. Great. Now, the thing that we did today was we pushed it a little further in order to make sense of what this stuff means. Okay, I have a constraint that says at least $1,200. What is that talking about, right? That is a constraint that is talking about money, right? So this is a constraint about money. This is very important, okay? The second constraint, a maximum of 90 hours, right there, hours, days, minutes, whatever. They're talking about, I can't spell, time, okay? If you look on the little blue concept map thing that we handed out today, it kind of looks like that. It tells you that in order to write a system of inequalities for each of your constraints, so that's 1, 2, you're going to have that many inequalities. So since there are 2 constraints, there are going to be 2 inequalities, okay? Alright, so let's get into it. Write a system of inequalities. I like setting up the backs of it first. So I'm going to do this one first, okay? At least $1,200. So you've got to have more than that. You've got to make this money. That is greater than or equal to. It's okay to make $1,200, but they would prefer that you probably make more, right? Now, let me start setting up my second one. A maximum of 90 hours. So it sounds like you can't work any more than that. A maximum of 90 hours, okay? Once again, just to keep this theme going, this inequality that we're writing here is going to be about money, period. This bottom inequality is going to be about time. So let's get into it. Now I want to do the money one first. If I'm reading this, the first thing that they talk about with money is $40 per hour for each high school student. I know that they told me X represents high school students. So, since I'm talking about money, and this is money, I'll say $40 for each high school student, right? Okay. And now we're going to add that to something else. The other thing that talks about money is $30 per hour for each middle school student. They told us that Y represents the middle school students. So this is going to be 30Y. Okay? So not once again, what we just did was we made an inequality all about money. That's all it was about. Okay? Now we need to make one to match this constraint of time. We need to make an inequality about time. So the first thing that they talk about, if I keep reading, she plans on tutoring 2 hours per month for each high school student. So 2 hours per month for each high school student. And they're also going to work 3 hours per month for each middle school student. So that's going to be plus 3x. This is 2 hours. This is 3 hours. This is 90 hours. This is all about time. So right now we have successfully set up our two inequalities. Okay? Now the next step after we write our inequalities is that we can't just put these into y equals. Because, to be honest, I don't know what y equals. So you have to solve that, okay? And I'm going to kind of blaze through this. A lot of you guys have been doing well with this. You're going to subtract 40x, boom, minus 40x. And this is because you're solving for y, okay? Just in case if you didn't catch that. I'll rewrite what I have. 30y, 1200, minus 40x. And please remember, you cannot combine these two. They're two different things, okay? Anyways, I won't get into that. Alright, next step, since there's multiplication, you divide. Bam. And this is our first y, guys. This is y1. I want you to think about that now. This is y1, and this one over here, let's call this y2. So we know which one is which. And we won't lose track of things when you put in the calculator. Just to write it horizontally so you know how to put it in your calculator. Remember, you can't put these inequality signs in the calculator. That only impacts how we shade it. Put your parentheses, because we want you to put a parentheses around the top. Because when you're dividing this 30, it is for the whole side. So when you put it in the calculator for y1, if you press y equals, and y1 you should have parentheses, 1200 minus 40x, parentheses, divided by 30. Okay? Now let's work on the second one. This one, same number of steps. 3y is less than or equal to 90 minus 2x. What's near the y? A times 3. So we do the inverse, which is division. And now what I'm going to put in my calculator, right, for y2 is going to be this. Parentheses 90 minus 2x, divided by 3. Okay? So hopefully you're following me so far. y1 is this. y2 is this. Alright? Now that we've solved for y, we need to find out where they cross. We need to find out what area we're going to shade in. Okay? I kind of jumped ahead. I wrote this nice and neat for you. So that's y1 and y2. It's really important to label this, guys. If you put it in your table, if you press second graph after you put these two inequalities, but it looks like equations, I guess, into your calculator, this is what you get. Please do not sit here and try to graph these ridiculous decimals. Don't waste your time with that. There's no way you can graph 34.667 accurately, right? Like, I can't do that. You can't, like, I don't know anyone that could do that. Maybe a robot, but I'm not a robot, so I'm not going to go there. I would graph, if I was a student, right? If I were you guys, I would graph this, this, and this, okay? But we only take it one step at a time. So the first thing I'm going to graph is y1. So when x is 0, y is 40. So I'm going to go to x is 0, go up to 40, bam, make a dot. That's an ugly dot. Now I'm going down to where x is 3, y is 36. This is where you're going to do a little guesstimating. So 3 is around here, 36 is probably right above this line. So bam. Go down to 6, and my y value is 32. So I'll go over to 6 over here, right? 6 is probably just a little past the 5, and I'm going to go up to 32. Now, if you're one of those people that likes to spend their entire life making these crazy lines, you know, more power to you, whatever. I'm done. Once I have my 3 dots, I'm ready to make my line. Bam. And to be super stellar, because I like being super stellar, I'm going to write y1 for this line. So I don't forget that this inequality sign goes with y1. That's going to really help us when we're shading in things, okay? Now I'm ready to do y2. That's a separate line, right? Right? I like that. That's fine. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 30. So 0, I'm going to go up to 30. Bam! When x is 3, y is 35. So go over to 3. What? Wait a second, guys. Hold on. I messed up. Give me a second. Alright, so I just fixed this side. I put it in my calculator as if it was a plus. Oh my gosh, guys. I'm slipping. I have all sorts of errors. This should have been 90 on here. Anyways, alright, so this is what you should have had. I apologize for that. I am only thinking about food right now. Okay, so when x is 3, y is 28. So we'll go bam, bam, bam. It's probably like right there. When x is 6, y is 26. So we'll go to 6, go up to 26, probably like right here. Right? That's pretty ugly. Alright, now I have enough dots, or points, coordinates, to make a line. I'll make it a different color. Wham, bam. Okay? This is beautiful. Do you see this? This is crazy, guys. I'm so good at drawing. It's not really me. It's the computer. Anyways, alright. So now we need to think about which part we're going to shade in. Like this. What are we going to shade in? Alright? I want you to think about it. Oh, sorry. This is y2. This guy right here. Okay? So, our solution set, and that is the term solution set, because there's not only one solution, there's a set of them. There's a whole bunch. Okay? It has to meet both of the constraints over here. So, for y1, it has to be greater than or equal to this line. This is a line, right? Like we drew that line. That's this line right here. So if it has to be greater than or equal to, it's going to be everything above this red line. That is really sloppy. Okay? I would like shade this in really lightly. Yeah. Because we're going to do some erasing in a second. Alright? Okay. Y2. That is not what I want. Y2, which is this guy over here, they told us that it has to be less than or equal to this line. So, once again, y2, which is right here, if it's less than or equal to that line, it's going to be the whole area underneath this line. And I'm pretty sure you saw it. There is one area of this graph that was shaded in twice, and I'll color it in dark. It is this area right here. This is the area that you should really shade in for your answer. This is your solution set, really. Okay? I'm not going to use black, actually. Alright, so let me erase all of this up. If I had a TV show, would you watch it, guys? I think I'd be pretty successful. Alright, now, this is good. Moving on to the next thing. We have these questions. Let me do a picture. Alright, now, I'm going to make it a little big. Alright, so C, state one viable solution, right? A viable solution is something that is true. We did that with the whole inequalities unit. Viable were the things that were true, non-viable were not true. So basically what this is saying is give me a coordinate. Give me something that falls in this range. So I'll give you a whole bunch. 30 and 5. So you write it as a coordinate. 30 and 5. That's a coordinate that matches. That works. Let's look for another one. If I go to 25 and go up to 10, that's another one that works. Okay? This one over here, I really expect you guys to be able to do that. At what point do the lines intersect? That's the point where when you're going in your table, that y1 and y2 would have the same number. Okay? So if you need help with that, I'll help you in class. Alright, so basically guys, that is a very in-depth explanation about the systems of inequalities that we have been doing. It is a lot and you guys are doing wonderful. Keep it going. So the only thing I'll say about your homework, whoa, oh my gosh, I did it too big. Alright, she can tutor at most 35 students. To me, that sounds like I would go back here. And it sounds to me like you have another constraint that you need to write about. If they're talking about at most 30 whatever students, okay, that is another constraint you need to have, which means you're going to keep these two inequalities, but you need a third one. Where's the third guy? He needs some love too. After you find the third guy, you need to draw another inequality line, whatever it looks like. Okay? And reconfigure the shading region to match this one, and now whatever you get for y3. Okay? We will go over it in class tomorrow. And I wish you guys the best. Knock it out, okay? Have a great night. Peace.